Top 5 most valuable Wuthering Waves characters. Now, this is just my opinion, but I do think that these 5 characters provide the most value to anyone's account. Even some of their sequence nodes are completely game-changing for the team comps that they are in. Let's just get right into the list. Bottom of the list, number 5 is Youhu. She's a very unique character, honestly, because she can play the support role while also buffing the sub DPS, who buffs the main DPS. It's a really unique concerto outro skill where she has 100% coordinate attack damage but also provides healing. Now, she does get better with her sequence nodes, but she's perfectly fine at S0. She's able to hold support echo sets and buffs coordinate attackers like Yinlin, Mortefi, Zhezhi, who have decent personal damage while setting up for the main DPS like Zhezhi or Carlotta. So she sort of just gives your team more DPS when you're setting up for your main DPS to come back on field. Plus, if you play her well, she doesn't spend too much time on field. Next up in the number 4 slot is Zhezhi. So yes, she is a 5-star limited character, which is a little expensive. Some people might be skipping her or have skipped her for a second time in a row, but let me explain why she is so valuable, especially now. Firstly, her outro skill or her buffing mechanic as a sub DPS. She buffs Glacio damage and resonance skill damage. There are plenty of Glacio damage dealers who perform pretty well, but there are also a couple resonance skill damage dealers like Zhezhi and Carlotta. The universality of Zhezhi is insane compared to other sub DPS characters. She can hold Moonlit and use the Heron, and she also has very little field time if you can get her rotation correctly, while also having pretty strong personal damage. Not only on field, but off field as well, like I said, coordinated attacks. Additionally, if you pull for her sequence nodes, which is a little expensive as she is a limited character, she does have some other buffs, but again, very few people will pull copies for Zhezhi. Regardless, she is still a very universal and very strong character. She's the only limited character on this list, which definitely says something. Now, in the 3rd slot is Verina. So she is a 5-star, but she is a standard character. So we've had a couple selectors. People have had plenty of chances to choose Verina, and she is still incredibly valuable. Now, the reason why I chose Verina instead of Shorekeeper is 1, because she is standard, but also because she has a much faster rotation than Shorekeeper. Like, although Shorekeeper provides a lot of decent buffs, Verina, as a support, which is a very scarce role still, she still provides tons of healing, can hold support sets, and provides an ult-type damage deepen, which is one of the most valuable buffs in the game. Additionally, she has probably one of the shortest field times in the game. The rotation of her team comps are super quick, and since she is a support slot, she can be used on any team you want, regardless of who's your DPS, who's your sub DPS. And the reason why I chose her over Baiji and Shorekeeper is because she can do things that the other two cannot. She provides good buffs and has low field time, which makes her better than every other support in the game, to me. Although I do think Shorekeeper is very strong, I still would put Verina just above her because of that rotation speed. But regardless, we're gonna move on to number 2, Sanhua. So she has been and continues to be one of the most valuable characters in the game. I think she has the fastest rotation. It's insane. Although her personal damage isn't great, she does get a little bit of damage, but it's not that good. She can hold Moonlit set and Heron, just like any other sub DPS. But if you're using a DPS with a lot of field time, which some of them do, then Sanhua is a perfect fit, especially for basic attackers like Encore, because she provides that basic attack damage bonus and does it very fast. She's able to absolutely just break any main DPS, especially the basic attackers. Again, she is free, so if you're lucky enough to have some of her dupes, then she is able to provide a couple more buffs. For example, like her sequence node 6, that provides 20% attack to the team just from doing her normal rotations. But really, the main value is that fast rotation speed and basic attack damage bonus. We now have Camellia, who's been out for a while, the strongest basic attacker in the game, one of the strongest DPSs in the game. I'd say second, just behind Carlotta. Encore is very strong standard basic attacker. Ling Yang is also a basic attacker, but a little less strong. But really, she can be put in any team. She's just great overall. However, the number 1 most valuable character in Wuthering Waves, in my opinion, is Mortefi. Now let me explain why. First of all, he has that same sequence node 6 buff that Sanhua provides, at 20%. He's a free 4-star character, so maybe if you're lucky enough, you have that S6. His S4 is also really valuable. It extends his biggest damage source by 7 seconds. But for some reason, and I don't know why, he's the only character still in the game that provides a heavy attack damage deepen. We have multiple heavy attack damage dealers now. We have Jian and Rocha, and I don't know why he is still the only heavy attack buffer. Now, in the future, we will definitely get more heavy attack buffers, but Mortefi can do so much in his kit. He is more universal than anyone else. He has coordinated attacks, making him able to function with Jin C or any other DPS. He has that heavy attack damage deepen, which can support Rocha or GN, and he's the only one that can provide that buff. He also has pretty good personal damage and has a low field time. If you put the Moonlit Cloud set and Heron on him as well, he just provides even more buffs. Honestly, you can put the new Empyrean Anthem set on him as well. I wouldn't say it's better than Moonlit, but it's still decent. Regardless, he just provides so much stuff to your team, main DPS, or total team damage that no other character really can. Honestly, in my opinion, I think he's the Zhongling of Wuthering Waves.